Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, wherever you're watching from. My name is Adebayo. I'm the founder and CEO of Niyo Group, and I have the amazing Kameese Davis, the founder and CEO of Nylah Naturals, an award-winning, innovative hair care company based out of Berlin. But I'm not going to talk too much about her because I'm sure she would do a great justice to the camera. Kameese, good to have you.
I'm so pleased. I'm pleased we finally managed to have this conversation. Yes. You know, I admire you so much. So when you called me, it was like, yes, absolutely. Glad to hear.
It's really, really amazing to have a female boss lady film and sit right next to me, and also doing bits even in the climate like this. So I'm going to be asking a few questions to Kameese. Kameese is going to be one of our guests at Niyo Fest, but we would also be kind of going through a bit of research. So can you tell me a little bit about how Nylah Naturals started?
Awesome question. So the brand started pretty much out of a need, right? So my daughter, when she was born, she had eczema, and she had seborrheic dermatitis as well, which is eczema of the scalp. And what I found was, whilst I found it relatively easy to find natural products that would soothe her skin and alleviate some of the symptoms of the eczema, I couldn't find a hair care product that, one, wouldn't aggravate her eczema, and two, would still care for her hair in the way I needed it cared for. She's a black girl, she's a beautiful black girl. She's got, highly kinky textured, what would be classed as 4C hair. And unlike me, I wanted her to grow up knowing that her hair was beautiful. I didn't know that when I was growing up. There was a system and a structure which really set a standard of beauty, and black women were eliminated from that standard. So for me, growing up, my hair was problematic. I was always trying to hide it, always trying to straighten it, always trying to do something that wasn't authentically me. And I wanted my daughter to know that whilst versatility is beautiful, I'm wearing my hair straight now, you do the same, it's not integral to portraying yourself as a beautiful black woman. So caring for her hair was foundational to that for me. And because I couldn't find a product that cared for it in the way I wanted it to without aggravating her eczema, I decided I was going to be the solution to that problem. And it really was as simple as that. It was like, right, I need this. How can I create it? And then it was go.
I absolutely love it. I mean, I think when we think about hair products, first of all, the women's hair industry is a huge one. It's $500 billion worth. I mean, we women spend a lot of money on our hair.
We do.
And so there's so much opportunity when it comes to how Nylah can actually solve some of the problems within especially the kind of Afro hair ecosystem, texture hair ecosystem. But unfortunately, we still see that the hair industry, first of all, women are still underfunded. Let's not talk about the beauty industry still being underfunded. Let's not talk about the Afro hair industry still
being underfunded.
But you've been able to break some glass ceilings in that area. You've been able to be one of the few black women in the UK to be invested in. And I think that as much as it's really great that that's happening, there's not enough amplification of doing that, especially in this industry. Talk us through the process of being able to secure investment in order to be able to build this amazing hair care brand.
So it was a really long time coming for me in terms of getting to the point where the brand was investment ready. I want to say that first of all. The beauty industry, yes, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and black women are significantly overlooked, and it's multi-layered, right? So when we look at innovation and how ingredient innovation is being incorporated into products specifically for black women, we're being overlooked. When we look at the needs of black women, particularly from a hair restoration perspective, 1 in 2 black women will experience hair loss. I do. I have an alopecia condition, which I'll speak to you about probably later on. But for me, it was like, how do I ensure that I'm incorporating the advancements in ingredient technology into the products that we're using and making to ensure that Black women are benefiting from the new technologies that are available in the industry? And so in doing that, we were able to set our brand apart because we became more than just a brand that was, you know, using natural products. There was a lot of science, a lot of innovation, and a lot of skill that that's gone into this. We've worked with dermatologists, trichologists, cosmetic scientists. We've really gone down to a micro level to understand our formulations. And then in doing that, we built up a organic following of women who were using the products, enjoying the products, and really able to see how our products are working in a different way. And they became our amplifiers, they became our voice. So they started to obviously communicate to their friends that this is a product that's working for me, and they started to share the word. In going for investment, as you know, I went on Dragon's Den. So let's get to the Dragon's Den story, which wasn't my finest moment. And I didn't know a lot about business, I must say. So I started with a need. I wanted to create a product, but the business side of things was something that I wasn't really well versed in. So when I went on Dragon's Den, I asked for £50,000. I'm laughing. £50,000 for a 20% stake in the company. And what I was offered was £50,000 for a 40% stake in the company.
Very atrocious. Never do that, woman.
Never do that. And at the time, I remember thinking two things. If I say no, I will not have the opportunity to present to these investors my business again. But if I say yes, I will have the opportunity to at least have another conversation with the investors. And it was very emotional. So I decided to accept the investment on TV. And then we went back and we had a conversation where I was able to present in more of its entirety, the scope of the business and the opportunity. So we revised the proposition. But unfortunately for me, having looked at the agreement, and then I will say to anybody who is seeking investment, please, please, please scrutinize the terms of your agreement. Get an independent lawyer in, independent solicitor in that is working for you, not your investors, to scrutinize that contract. And when I did that, I realized that actually this isn't conducive for the way in which I want to grow as a person and the way in which I want to grow the business. So I said no. I turned them down. And then I was alone for a couple of years, building the business completely independently. And then I started to look for investment once we got to a six-figure and I could prove the concept, started to look for investment again. And that was difficult. You know.
Wow, so you built the business from the ground up to six figures on your own.
Yeah.
So you were the marketing person.
Yeah.
You were the customer service.
Yes.
Products innovation.
Yes.
All of that.
Yes. We had consultants.
Right.
But I couldn't afford to pay them full time.
Right.
So they were giving us like 1 day a month.
Wow.
It was pretty much me intensively working on the entirety of the business.
Wow.
And in addition to that, I had another business because I wasn't taking any money from Nylah at all. So I also done my consultation work in the schools, which is my other profession as a careers advisor. And I was working as a consultant and bringing money in financially. So in a sense, I had two businesses.
Wow. So you're not just the founder of Nylah Natural, but you're a serial entrepreneur who's been able to, like I call it, turn lemon into lemonade.
Yes.
Literally bring something out of nothing. It's just absolutely so inspiring to kind of to hear your story in this manner. I wanted to ask one thing. You know, when you were getting this kind of investment, you know, I believe it's a tangible amount. If you feel comfortable, you can say the amount.
Yes.
And you know, how was that process like?
So we received £530,000 with an additional £360,000 committed to the business, should we need to call down on that. And the process, you know, let's look at statistics. I think statistics will tell you what the process was like. 0.02% of Black women secure venture capital investment. It's atrocious. It's atrocious. And whilst I am really proud of the fact that in the Midlands, I've secured the most amount of money as a Black woman, let's scrutinize that for a second. In 2023, when I got the investment, it is now glass ceiling breaking that a black woman has secured £500,000 into her business. Is that good enough?
No.
I don't think it's good enough. No. I'm sorry, and I know a lot of people say you should be proud. I am, right? Was it hard? Absolutely. But does it highlight a problem? Yes, it does.
Yes.
It highlights, because there are some incredible Black female entrepreneurs with amazing businesses, amazing acumen, fantastic innovation, and they're not getting the funding that they need to get. And it's not good enough, because if we were able to get that funding as Black women into the business, the amount that we would contribute to the British economy is in its billions.
Absolutely.
Right?
Agreed.
So in a sense, funders are doing themselves a disservice by underestimating Black founders and not investing into us the way that they need to. Statistics also show Black women are the fastest growing set of entrepreneurs, which we both know. But statistics also show that actually Black female founded businesses are more successful.
Amazing. And what's funny, because I'm being an angel investor myself, and I've invested in about 6 startups now, and looking at all of my, 5 out of 6 of them are female founded businesses, and looking at their success and seeing how much of a struggle it is for them to raise, even being a software SaaS-based company, is absolutely atrocious. Because as an angel investor, there's only so much you can do. There's only so much of a, we are not like the richest angel investor to kind of give loads of money, but for me, what's funny to kind of see is the kind of smoke screen that exists in the venture capitalist ecosystem.
Yeah.
In essence, you're seeing somebody else who is a different demographic with no proof of concept, yet someone like Kameese has been able to bootstrap her company to 6 figures on her own, right? Prove the concept, and yet that nearly £1 million committed tax on investment is actually, because your valuation is at least, in my opinion, should be at least 10x because of the value of the industry, of how much your revenue you were generating. Now, for me, I still think that there's a lot of work that we can do in order to be able to change the landscape of the funding ecosystem. What's one advice that you would give to female founders? I have loads for me, but this is about Kameese. But if there's one advice that you would give to female founders looking to raise VC funding in this climate, realistic advice.
Give the advice to myself as well. I think first of all, you need to understand your market, your industry, your proposition, and your value. I think if you don't understand your value, you will be devalued, right? Because sometimes other people can see it. So you need to understand, okay, what is it that I'm building and bringing to the table? And in terms of my 5-year plan, where can this be? I think that's fundamentally important. Understanding your numbers, I can speak to you all day about my financial plan because I know it inside out. And I think that's also really important that we understand the financial model, because in a sense, that's the foundation of your business. And then really start to scrutinize the VC ecosystem, the landscape of investors, and find out who is looking for what it is that you've got to offer. Yes, some people say, look, let's send our pitch deck out to everybody. But I think it's really important that you have your hit list. You know that you're meeting their sweet spot and you're able to have those conversations and network. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. Who's in your network? What relationships are you building? With the VCs that invested in me, I built that relationship for 2 years before they invested in me. The first time they said no. And I said, okay, so what is it that I need to do in order to turn that no into a yes? What do you want to see from me? They told me what they needed to see, and I went away and done that, and I built that. And then I came back and I said, right, am I ready now?
Amazing. I mean, I have one more question on investment before we move into innovation of bionaturals. So we hear about pre-investment, we hear about, oh my gosh, the press of, oh, well, this person raised X amount. Personally, I don't think I think investment is worth celebrating because of how much work is put into it, 100%. But that's literally the starting point.
It's the start.
Right, and so I like to debunk that myth.
Yeah.
Right. What's it like post-investment? talk to us a little bit about what's like post-investment.
Oh, you're really coming with these questions, are you? Coming with these questions. Post-investment for me was initially really, I'm going to use the word scary. And the reason why is because I had, up until this point, for a few years, built the business with absolutely no working capital. And suddenly I had not enough money, but more money than I've ever had before. And there was a unique pressure that I felt, and I'm not necessarily saying that it was placed upon me, but there was a pressure that I felt as a Black woman, because I now have to represent not myself, not my business, but the community of Black women. It almost became, we're going to watch her and see what she does because she represents the cohort and demographic of Black women. And whilst it is beautiful, it can also be an extreme pressure to think that people are watching you to decide whether or not Black women are worth investing into.
I can relate.
Can you relate?
I can relate. We raised...
It's a lot.
It is a lot. But we raised, not necessarily venture capitalists, we raised impact investment for our education business, Niyo Labs. And that pressure, no one prepares you for that.
No one prepares.
I think even when I just said it, I don't think people really get it until you're in it.
Yeah.
Because now you have to do management accounts every month.
Yeah.
If you weren't doing it before, but you have to now talk it through in your outline with your investors to kind of say, okay, this is what's happening in the business.
Yeah.
Why we spend this amount?
Exactly.
Like it's a lot of pressure. Now you have to think about growing up from one person
to a team. So I'm now managing people, you know, and that is also within itself a full-time job, and it can be emotionally draining because people come to work with their skill set. Yes, absolutely, that's what you're employing them for, but they're also people. So they sometimes come to work with their nuances, their characteristics, their challenges, their emotional needs, and you as the manager have to help them to navigate that so that they can give you the best at work. And no one prepares you for that either. So all of a sudden I went from being this one-man band that was kind of like my own boss to now having a board of people that I have to answer to, having staff that I have to answer to, and also being responsible for the customers and being responsible for the strategic growth direction of this business to meet the needs of my investors.
It's a lot. We'll talk behind the scenes about some stuff. But I think, you know, I have to say kudos to you because the pressure to have to grow so quickly within yourself is quite a lot. You know, from going from being a one-man band, it's a mental switch. And I'll speak to one of my investees, the people I invested in, and I was talking to her just about me as an entrepreneur because we built a friendship, and she was like, "Oyin, you're doing this transition on your own." My investors told me the same thing. They're like, "Oyin, you're doing this transition on your own. You need a coach to coach you through this because it's a huge mental switch. There's certain things that you now have to, there's certain ways in which you now have to present yourself. That goes out the window. There's certain ways you speak. It's literally like it's a transition. And I sat down and I thought, you are right. And as Black women, we've not had, like literally CEOs and big corporates get coaches. And so we should have coaches to be able to take us through this process.
I agree. I've been looking for a coach. I think it's absolutely important. Let's talk.
I'll be your plug. No, enough about investment. Let's talk a little bit about Nylah Naturals and its innovation, because one of the interesting things when we think about technology or innovation, I did a TED talk on where technology came from, using ice as a kind of concept. When you think of ice, you don't think that's technology. So I liken like the innovation of ice, for example, to the innovation of hair care products, and really key to like what Nylah Naturals has been able to build. You know, in a world where technology is so centered around software, so centered around hardware, how are you able to present and position Nylah Naturals as an innovative hair care company that does essentially help to transform the lives of women, to be honest.
Because everything is tech.
It is.
Right? And what we're using is ingredient technology. And a lot of that is engineering. In order for us to get the functional ingredients that we need, they need to be engineered. We need to understand, okay, what is the raw material that is being used? What is the extracts that we need from that raw material? What is the molecular size that we need that raw material to be? And how does that work in synergy with the other ingredients that we're incorporating into our formulations? So all of that is technology. And then in order to do that and build a product that works, we first have to understand, okay, what is the science here of black hair? So I spent a lot of time really investigating, researching, understanding what are the characteristics of the unique fiber that is black hair and the umbrella of Afro hair types, because again, it's not, monolithic. It's very diverse. The umbrella term Afro, lots of different textures sit under that. So for me, it was, okay, when we're looking at the functionality of our products, what do I want them to do and what are the raw materials that are going to enable that? So for example, our pea protein. Our pea protein is a hydrophilic ingredient, which means that it binds to water, but it also has a nano size in terms of its molecular structure. So it's able to penetrate past the cuticles and into the cortex of the hair. But with that, it's bringing in excess water molecules to ensure that the hydration fits inside of the hair. So then we have to look at, okay, what is the factors, for example, porosity, right? We need to consider the pH of the product and ensure that the pH is enough to close the cuticles down so it traps that hydration into it. Now, earlier I mentioned that I have a type of alopecia. I have something called CCCA, which is a very aggressive and progressive type of alopecia. It starts out very small as a hair loss in the center of the scalp, and over the years it progresses into permanent hair loss on the scalp. And a lot of black women who have alopecia have this type of alopecia. The problem is when we're searching for products, we're often faced with some people who have the best intentions, but they're utilizing products that have not got the scientific efficacy to help to stimulate follicular regeneration. Right. And what we're seeing is the alopecia is becoming a crisis, I think, amongst black women. So because I suffered from it, I started to look at what are the raw materials that are available in the science industry that we can now bring to black women to help to support with inflammation, to help block DHT, to ensure that we're reducing cortisol levels in the body, because all of these are factors that contribute to hair loss. And other brands are not considering that. We've recently got won some funding from Innovate UK to, thank you.
Is this
Thank
the
you.
Women in Innovation?
No, not that one. Not that one. I didn't apply for it and I should have.
Yeah.
But anyway, we recently run some funding to look at developing I'm not going to say too much, but a device that will help to support the regeneration of black women. And this device, whilst it's available on the mass market, because of our skin and our melanin, it actually affects the efficacy of the device. So we're looking at how we can re-engineer it so it's suitable for black women and our hair types. So this is how I'm incorporating innovation into our products.
Wow. Kameese, first of all, I remember when I first met Kameese, she is a ball of teachership. Education literally comes from you, and I absolutely love that because everything that I've learned so much by listening to you right now. So thank you so much for sharing my education with the audience and also with me here. I want to kind of, ask you one thing. So from your experience of building two businesses and serial entrepreneur, let's make that clear, till now, can you tell me what are the kind of key top skills that you have learned over the years that has made you be able to build to this stage?
Yeah, I love that question. 3 skills, and I could list loads, but I think one of the skills that have really helped propel me forward is my ability to learn. Like, I am not egotistical at all. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room, right? I want to surround myself with people, with things, with resources that can help me to grow. Because ultimately, I still see myself as here in terms of where I want to be. So I think my ability to learn, to grow, to absorb information and to investigate. I love investigating, right? So if there's a problem, I'm always looking at, okay, let me understand this problem, because when I understand it, I can then start to think about the solution. So I'd say that's one of the things. Please be open to learning, to investigating, be a constant student of life, which is really important. The next thing for me is spirituality. I am not religious. And I think that having a source of faith and being able to connect to something that is greater than you is really important, right? I can only see from my kind of very narrow perspective on life. It's really important that I plug into a source that can see past, present, and future, that can help me to navigate my steps, that can help put me in the right places amongst the right people. The third thing is, I spoke about resources, I spoke about spirituality. I am learning, and I'm not there yet, but I'm learning to be kind to myself.
Right.
I am not kind to myself, not the way I need to be. And as a result of that, I think I can become depleted very quickly, right? And you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give when you're so exhausted that you can't even think. And I'm getting to the stage now in the business where I'm recognizing that in order for me to be my very best, I have to give myself the best. I have to watch what I'm eating. I have to sleep. I have to give myself time to soothe my soul, to be in solidarity, to have isolation. All of these things are important to me. And I think as an entrepreneur, you can get so caught up in the constant cycle of growth and pushing forward and making money that you forget ultimately you're a vessel, you're a being. You need to give yourself that grace.
I absolutely love that. I remember, it just reminds me of when my friends sat me down a few years ago when they were like, Oyin, you're not being conscious. For example, and that's when I took my fitness journey. Seriously, I don't play with my fitness.
And girl,
I don't play. So definitely, I so much agree with that. You know, it's such a key thing. To be kind to yourself. Thank you so much, Cam, for this conversation. It's been such a pleasure, you know, to sit down with you, to have a chat. Is there any one last thing that you just like to tell the audience?
Not necessarily the audience, but one last thing I'd like to tell you. If anyone knows me and you've watched me before, I get quite tearful, and I'm getting tearful now, and I'm really sorry. I'm trying to control it. But I just think as a woman, you are such a powerhouse. And I admire you so much. And I am so grateful. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I am so grateful for your representation for Black women. Because, damn it, I need to stop this. I need to stop this. Growing up, we didn't have it. I didn't have it. And I know that little girls are seeing women like you, you know, seeing women like me, and they're understanding their potential. So I'm so sorry I started crying, but this is sincerely from the heart. I love you.
Love you too.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
I'm loving seeing you win.
Yes, me too.
And thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And I think in a world of competition, I think this has been a really great way of coming together, operating in the same industry, to be honest, but you know, doing it in different ways, and just seeing the power of two amazing women building, failed, tried, succeeded, done it again, picked themselves back up, and being able to be so vulnerable. Like, your tears are beautiful. Your tears are actually a sense of a significant sense of power to the people listening, because the woman like you, who has been able to raise so much amount of money, was able to turn over 6 figures with single-handedly running a business, right? with not as much recognition I think that you should have, yet can actually be so vulnerable in front of the camera has so much power. You know, when we think about power, we think about macho. No, it's also about showing your elements of femininity. I think Cam emanates that, and I definitely learned from you, to be honest, and how you carry this up. And so thank you for being you. Thank you for just being such a light to the industry. And I cannot wait for you to get you may think you have a recognition now, but I think it's just a starter. But I send you around and things sometimes. So I think about you, this is you. Like, this is the standard, Cam. And I can't wait for the world stage to not just know about Nylah Naturals, but the woman who Cam is. So thank you for the interview. Cam has just given us a snippet of what she's going to be sharing at Niyo Fest on the 3rd to the 5th of October. Make sure that you are there to glean from the powerhouse that is Cam. So if you would like to attend Niyo Fest, go on niyofest.com and purchase your tickets. Tickets are run out very quickly. Gather with 1,000 people in the room here in Birmingham for an explosive time of how tech meets culture, including beauty. Thank you so much. See you soon.